That's why I should've let your best friend get it. And that's a goddamn shame. But a hoe gonna be a hoe and the lame gonna be a lame.
Hi everyone. I just drank a shaken espresso and it's like literally, I drank it at like 9 o'clock at night and it's like 10:30 right now. So I am wired and ready to go. And it took me forever to do my makeup and my hair. So I'm just like ready to talk to somebody. So I think this is going to be a really good story time. So get whatever it is that you need to get and let's get right into it, because this is going to be kind of like a continuation. It wasn't like a part 1 or part 2, but this is kind of a continuation of the story time that I did about the elaborate ideas that Tori used to get me into, the 4th of July parties. So get whatever it is that you need to get and let's get on into it. But always, before we get into it, let me go ahead and do my membership shout out. I just want to shout out my homegirl Megan Elizabeth. Megan, you are literally always on my posts, always on my community tab. You follow me on Instagram, you always comment and stuff, and I just really appreciate it. And I'm telling you guys, I recognize y'all's names. I know, like, I'm really not that popping. Like, I know when y'all are consistently talking to me and stuff, and I just want to say that I greatly appreciate you, girl. Love you down. Thank you so much for your love and support, as well as everybody on my membership, who's not on my membership, all y'all. I just love y'all down, seriously. And like, not for nothing, y'all be gassing me on Instagram. So like thank you so much. Okay, thank you. Also, I've had questions about how to join my membership. The link apparently is what gets you on like your mobile device or whatever to get you to join the membership. So I will start putting the membership link in my description box down below, as well as frequently asked questions, because y'all be asking me the same questions. I put my ethnicity, I put my zodiac sign, all that stuff is in the description box, as well as my makeup sometimes when it's a get ready with me. So if you have any questions, check the description box first, then ask me, okay? Please. Anyway, now that we have all that out the way, let's get into it. So this, like I said, goes to with the story time about the elaborate mess that Tori used to get me into, and this was about the 4th of July party. Now, in that story time, I told y'all that me and Armando had gotten into like this thing. So I'm gonna tell y'all what was going on with me and Armando and what was the aftermath of that. Okay, so boom, I'm going to insert a new character in this one. Yeah. Are y'all sick of Armando yet? Because I've been sick of him. I'm so sick of him in these story times. So boom, let's take it back. Now, Armando had an ex, and we are gonna call her Marie. So Marie was the end all be all. That was the one that got away, the love of his life, the ex forever. Like, that was the first girl I had ever seen. Like, before me and Armando were even a thing, before we even knew each other like that, I knew about him and Marie. Like, he posted them, like, that was the it girl, that was the ex, okay? The only reason that man was not with that girl was because they moved. He told me all the time, like, when I asked him, I was like, oh, what happened with you and your ex? He would always be like, oh, it was just toxic, it was unhealthy. Lies. He was in love with that woman. That was his soulmate or whatever. And so I always kind of peeped it, and I knew it because I saw her name one day when I went over to his house for the first time. Actually, I went over to his house. His phone was on the bed, and he had her first and last name on his phone as the contact. And so when his phone was on the bed, I had saw her name pop up, and I was just like, I didn't say anything because me and him just started talking. Like, that was the first time I ever went to his house. So I didn't feel like inclined to say anything, but the red flags were literally poking me in my eyeballs, and I just didn't care. I went about my life like I didn't see anything. So that's Marie. That's the background on Marie. And it's funny because me and her didn't even have a beef about Armando. Me and her had a beef because she drove crazy one day and she almost hit my sister's car. And if you know me, or you've even had 2 seconds of a conversation with me, don't play with my sisters. I swear, I don't play about my sisters, especially like Sabrina. If y'all know me in real life, y'all know I do not play about my Sabrina. You're not gonna do anything because my sister is so unproblematic and she be minding her business and she's so nice and out the way. So if you mess with her, like, don't ever in your life, okay? So that's the whole reason I had like a little unsettled beef with her, because she was trying to talk to my sister's ex and she almost hit my sister's car when my sister just got that car for her. My parents had bought it for her. She almost hit my sister's car. So I had like this little beef with Marie because we went to the same school together. It was a hot mess, honestly. I know this part is all over the place, but yeah, that was like a thing. So I didn't have any issues with her as far as like Armando went, but I did have issues with her as far as like her as a person. You know what I mean? But it was definitely one-sided because I don't even think she knew that. Like, I just knew that because my sister, and I don't care if it has nothing to do with me. If it has something to do with my sister, it definitely, like, we could see it. Like, I don't care. So anyway, this was the 4th of July party. Now, mind you, Marie had already moved. Like, she was not, this was our junior year of high school. Or no, this was our senior year of high school. She had already graduated, moved, did that. I don't even know what her life consisted of. But for this 4th of July party, she just so happened to be there. So I introduced y'all to Marie. Y'all kind of get a little bit of background. So y'all are going to see where this story goes. So boom. Me and Armando were talking and he just got mad at me one day randomly. To be honest, I do not remember what the argument was, but it couldn't have been anything serious because me and him weren't talking like that. Like, we had just started talking. So, and like made it official talking, if you get what I'm saying. So I didn't understand what his problem was. He had stopped texting me. We hadn't spoken for like days. So I just figured like, all right, me and this dude are over with. Like, we're not talking. We're not anything. Like, is what it is. Another one bites the dust. Cool. And this was also during like the transitional period where like Blue was like messaging me. I was not over Blue. Like, honestly, if I'm being like truthful with myself and with y'all, there was like an overlap period where I was with Armando, but I was still thinking about Blue. And it wasn't until like I realized, like I came to terms that like Blue was gone. And then I was like fully invested into Armando, if that makes sense. So that was kind of like this transitional period. And so I didn't really care that Armando stopped talking to me. Like, I was just like, okay, whatever. So when I pull up to this party, I didn't know that Armando was going to be there. So I'm just turning up, getting lit with Tori. And Armando was very much like, he didn't like girls that party. He didn't like girls. He was so controlling and so insecure. He wanted somebody to sit in the house while he went out and cheated. Yeah. So whatever, I was getting lit, I was getting turned, and so I was on the other side because there was like a pool. So I was on the other side of the pool, and Armando had walked in, and I didn't notice that he walked in. So I'm doing my own thing, I'm living my life, I'm turning up, I'm with my friend, and he already didn't like Tori for a whole lot of other reasons. So whatever, I'm turning up and stuff, and then I see Armando. So when I see him, I walk up to him and I'm like, oh, hey, Armando. And he was like, hey, what's up? Like, he's just like so dry with me and acted almost as if like he didn't even know me. And he was notorious for doing that. Like, we would be 3 years in. And anytime I saw him in public, he would act like he didn't know me. So anyway, I'm just like, oh, okay, like, what's up? Like, whatever. And he was just basically like being super dry with me. And so I didn't understand it. I knew he was mad, but because he saw me turning up, but then I was just like, whatever. So I just kind of, it was like a really quick, like in passing kind of thing. He was just like, what's up, whatever. And I was just like, okay. And then he went to the other side of the pool with his friends. So I'm confused. So I go back to Tori and I'm telling Tori, I'm like, girl, why is Armando like really being that way with me? And she's like, why don't you just go ask him? So like a dum-dum, I went back over to him after he did that. I went back over to him and I was like, hey, what's up? Like, you haven't spoken to me or whatever, like, what's good? And all he said to me was like, nothing, do you? And so I was confused because like I told y'all, we had not spoken. He stopped talking to me. Like, I don't double text nobody. If you're gonna sit there and leave me on red and you're not gonna talk to me for days, like, we could keep this going for weeks, years, like decades. It's nothing. So I was confused. Like, why are you mad at me in the first place? And second off, why are you acting this way towards me and talking about some do you? Like, I've been doing me because you didn't reply to me. So whatever. He said that, and I'm just like, what's your problem? And he's just like, nothing, do you. So I just left it at that. Also, I was turned, I was lit, I did not care. And that's one thing about me in public settings, like especially if I'm out with my friends. Do you think I'm gonna sit here and care that you're mad at me? No, I'm gonna do whatever I want in the night, and then later on I'll be like, what happened? Toxic. So after he did that whole do you thing, I was walking back to Tori, and I just so happened to run into Marie. So like I said, I was lit. I didn't really pay much attention, but we all like literally ran into each other. And so I was like, oh my bad, like sorry girl. And she was like, oh, it's cool. And it was just like one of those situations. I did not think anything of it. I didn't think twice about it. I didn't think like, oh, this is Marie, Armando's ex. I didn't think anything of it. I just ran into her, said sorry, went back to what I was doing. So at this point in time, the party progresses, and I was kind of thinking about Armando, but then I kind of wasn't at the same time. So when I looked up, I saw his group of friends there, but he wasn't there. So I went back to his group of friends, and then y'all know his best friend that like I just can't stand, never could stand. This is one of the reasons why, and this was early on when me and Armando had first started talking. So him and Armando are best friends. He knows exactly who I am. He knows exactly what the vibes are, like everything. So I went up to him and I was like, hey, where's Armando? And he was like, oh, I don't know, shorty. Like, why are you worried about where Armando's at? I'm right here. I'm not joking. That's exactly what he says to me. Knowing who I am, being Armando's best friend, he was like, oh, I don't know, shorty, but like, I'm right here. And I'm like, okay, like I'm not looking for you, I'm looking for Armando. But at this time, like I was friendly with him because we didn't have beef like that yet. So I was just like, okay, but like where's Armando? And he's like, why you stay worried about Armando? Like I just told you I'm right here. Why don't you sit your fine ass down right here? And he's like tapping his lap, telling me to sit on his lap. First of all, ew, because of who you are. Second of all, what are you doing? Like, don't be thirsty, first off, and like don't be thirsty for your best friend's girl. Like, even though we were in our little tussle, like that, what is wrong with you? So I was just like, ew, no. And I was like, what is like, and so I just walked away. So when I walked away, I'm like telling Tori, I'm like, I have no idea where this fool is. Like, he just left, I guess. And she was like, who cares? And so like that's when we got wrapped up in her elaborate ideas and whatnot. So that's how that night happened. So why I bring this up, right? So I texted him and I'm like, hey, where are you? And he never responded, never said anything back to me. And I just figured, all right, so we are done talking, I guess, because you're just sitting here doing this with me. Like, I never understood. He was so good for just ignoring me for days on end and making me think that like we just stopped talking. And then when we would get back cool, he would say like, oh, it was a break. So annoying. So fast forward, that night is over. That whole thing with me and Tori happened, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Fast forward to like a couple of days after the fact. So I'm looking on Instagram and I'm on his Instagram. I was lurking and I started looking at old pictures that he had on his page. Now, mind you, this was way back before DMs. This was before Instagram DMs. So you had to go to people's old pictures to like leave comments. So there was this girl, like she was Marie's best friend, and to be honest, this girl like fell off the face of the earth because me and her were actually pretty cool. We had seen each other on like separate occasions, but you know, I didn't really mess with her like that because I didn't mess with Marie like that. So when I look on Armando's pictures, like one of his old pictures, I see that Marie's friend commented and was like, hey, where are you at? Marie needs her charger back. And the comment was the date of the 4th of July party. And I'm like, Marie needs her charger. Where are you at? Marie needs your charger back. And I'm looking at his comment and he was like, no worries, I already gave it to her. And her response, Marie's friend, was like, oh, she told me to hit you up. And that was another thing I never understood with it. Like, Marie's life was just so mysterious. Like, she would just like move randomly, never had a phone, never, like, it was just like this weird thing. So I just always like didn't understand what was going on between their relationship, let alone like I couldn't keep up. I couldn't lurk because like she would have an Instagram for a week, then delete it, then she would move, then it was this, like it was always something with this girl. So I can never keep up with this girl. So I'm just seeing that and I'm just like, what do you mean? Like, what are you talking? What is this girl talking about? Oh, you have her charger. Why would you have her charger? What? Oh, because that was the thing too. She was like, when she responded, she was like, oh yeah, she said she left it in your car. Why is she leaving things in your, why is she in your car? Like, sir. Like I told y'all, during this time, we're on this break, right? So then he hits me up like a couple days later and he's like trying to act as if nothing ever happened. He was like, hey, and I'm just like, what's up? And he was like, oh, how you been? I missed you, blah, blah, blah. He loved to do that. He would just hit me up randomly out of nowhere for not talking to me for like days or weeks, because it's been weeks before. And he would be like, oh, like, I miss you. What have you been up to? Da, 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 da. So when he did that, I had brought up the whole thing with the like charger thing. And so I was like, where did you go after 4th of July? And he was like, oh, nothing, I went home. Lies. So then I'm like, no, you didn't, because why is Marie's best friend asking you where you're at because she left her charger in your car? So then it went from I went home to, oh yeah, it's because I had to give her a ride home. And I'm just like, why are you giving girls rides home? Like, if she's your, especially your ex, like why are you giving girls rides home? And second of all, why are you giving your ex a ride home? Like, what? And like now as a mature adult, you know what I mean? I feel like my boyfriend, like, if a girl was in distress or something, I wouldn't mind, because we have that trust and we have that bond. Like, I know, like, I wouldn't want my boyfriend just leaving some girl. Like, if a girl is like really in trouble or something, like, I would hope that my boyfriend would be a good person and give her a ride home. Not in this case. No. Why did you give her a ride home? She couldn't have been that disheveled. We're 17. What is she doing? Like, you know what I mean? No, we're not doing that. So I'm like confronting him about it. And then he's just like, it's not even like that. Everybody was in the car with me. Like, I was with my best friend, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what best friend? Who were you with? Because he said his name. He was like, oh, I was with so-and-so. And I'm like, when were you with so-and-so? And he was like, oh, when that happened, like, I just went and dropped her off. And I'm like, oh, are you talking about that same best friend? There's no way that he was with you that night, because while you were dropping this girl off, he was telling me to sit on his lap and asking me why I was worried about you. So that can't be the same guy, and that couldn't have been the same time, sir. Like, no. Like, he used to gaslight me so bad. Like, I don't understand how I'm not like insane after being with him, because like, oh my god, he used to like really gaslight me. So he would be like, oh no, not that time, it was another time in the night that I had to give her a ride and she left her charger in my car. And I was like, okay, so y'all were alone? And then he was like, yeah, we were just alone for like the time that it was just like 2 seconds we were alone. And I'm just like, how did we go from you went straight home, you gave her a ride, but it was with your best friend in the car, when I confronted you that your best friend was telling me to sit on his lap, that wasn't the time. Now it's like, oh, that was another time. And then now we're going into, oh, it was just really quick. Like, what is this? So I'm just confused. But at this time, you know, he was just gaslighting me, and we had went on a break again. After that, we went on another break, and then he doesn't know this, but Blue came into town. But that's a different story. I'm telling you, I never cheated on Armando, but I regret every day that I didn't. I should have cheated so bad with him. Like, I regret every day. And like, to this, like, I'm sure to this day, I don't know, I don't think Armando thinks about me. I hope he doesn't. But it's just like, he swore that I was just this hoe and I used to cheat on him all the time. And like, that's one of my biggest regrets in this relationship, that I didn't cheat on him. I should have. I really should have from the start. I should have never talked to him. But if I was going to be this in deep, like, I should have cheated on him so bad. I wish. Anyway, you live and you learn. So We get on this break, we don't talk to each other for like months, and then we get back cool, and the whole situation with like all this stuff. So mind you, he's sitting here telling me that nothing happened, that he just gave her a ride home. That story always stayed inconsistent, even like after we like clarified things, even after we've argued about so many things. Because you know, like when you argue with your toxic ex, like things just be coming out, and they'll be like, that's why I did have sex with her, or that's why I did do this, you know. Even to that day, like when we would get into these toxic arguments and stuff, that story, that in particular, would never be clarified. It always changed. The story was always inconsistent. I never got a clear understanding of what happened until fast forward. So that was my junior summer. So that was like my going into senior year. So that was when I was like 16. Fast forward, I graduated high school. We graduate high school, right? And we, you know, I'm going to cosmetology school. And before I went to cosmetology school that summer, I went on a cabin camping trip kind of thing. I went to that with a group of people. Now, this was the most random group of people, but they asked me to go, and I was just like, whatever, cool, I'll go. Like, I don't really care. So in this group of people was this one guy that I went to elementary school. Like, we knew each other since elementary school. So we were really, really cool. And we were always just like acquaintances throughout school or whatever. But he went on this camping trip. It was like the cabin trip. So during this cabin trip, right, the guy, we're gonna call him Doug. So during this camping trip, me and Doug were trying to find cell phone reception, because at this time, like, me and Armando are good, right? He cheated on me like 1,000 times, but we're in a good space, right? So I was trying to get cell phone reception because I was trying to like talk to Armando, and Armando was already mad at me that I was going on this camping trip because of the best friend that blocked me, the really good one that like ghosted me or whatever. He was on the trip, and Armando was so threatened by our friendship and everything like that. So he was already mad at me that I went on this trip, but I was trying to, you know, be a good girlfriend and stay in communication with him. But in this cabin trip, there was literally no cell phone reception. So I was trying to get cell phone reception. So I told the people, I was like, hey, I'll be right back. I'm going to drive like a little bit up the road to see if I can get some reception, because I was just going to keep driving until I found reception and like talk to him for a little bit and then come back. I just spit everywhere. Ew. So when I said that, Doug was like, oh, hey, can I come with you? I was like, yeah, that's cool. So we get in the car and I'm driving up there. And so we're just chilling, like, because he's on his phone and I'm on mine. And so I'm just texting Armando or whatever while I have reception. We're checking Instagram and stuff. And he was just like, why are you so pressed to talk to Armando so bad? And I was like, because like that's my boo or whatever. And he was like, didn't you find out he cheated on you? And I'm like, yeah, but it's complicated, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just telling him, like, you know, I'm still trying to make it work. Like, because at the end of the day, he's still cool. He's still a good person, blah, blah, blah. I used to lie to myself, like, so bad. I am telling you, it was a different kind of time, a different kind of brain cells I used to have. So Doug is just like, Samantha, and it's so embarrassing because I feel like so many guys used to do the same thing and just be like, Samantha, he does not like you. He's not for you. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. So it was one of those kind of conversations. He was like, Samantha, you could do so much better. Like, you do not need to be with Armando. And I'm just letting him know. I'm like, oh, but he's just different with me, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, I'm telling you, you do not need to be with Armando. And I'm just like, do you know something that I don't know? Or like, do you want to say something? Because it seems like you do. And he was like, Samantha, you know that I'm Marie's neighbor, right? And I'm like, yeah, because Marie did used to live in my neighborhood. Like, I'm telling you this, like, all of us used to be so intertwined. It's kind of weird because me and Marie used to be cool in elementary school. Like, we used to ride the bus together. And then, like, we always were cool with each other, like, until, like I told you, until she went crazy and she wanted to talk to my sister's ex and she wanted to do all that craziness, hit my sister's new car. I didn't have a problem with her and I knew of her. Like, we were fine. Like, it was chilling. And not for nothing, everybody said that we used to look alike. I didn't see it, but we were both like light-skinned, Latina, that whole thing. Anyway. So he was like, you know I'm Marie's neighbor, right? And I'm like, yeah, I know that. And he was like, you know Armando has a very distinct car, right? And I'm like, yeah, what are you trying to say? And he was like, Armando's been at her house every single day. And a majority of those times, he spent the night. When I tell... You know the TikTok where it's like... When I tell you, I was like, what? And he was like, Samantha, I'm not joking. Like, she comes to visit because I'm telling you, I had no idea what this girl's lifestyle was. I didn't know if she moved with her parents. I don't know what she did with her life. I really don't know. But I did know, like, her parents stayed in my neighborhood and he was neighbors with them. And like right next door, like next door neighbors. And he was like, yeah, like it's been a thing for like a long time. And at the time, Armando used to drive, like all of Armando's cars were very, very distinct. So he was like, I'm telling you, he described the car. He described the vehicle to a T. And he would always tell me, because Armando used to work at a car wash that closed at like 7 or 8 all the time. And he was like, I'm telling you. And I'm like, I felt so stupid because she wasn't my neighbor. Like, she lived on the opposite side of my neighborhood, but like I passed by her street. Like, so you mean to tell me not only are you cheating on me with this girl that I always knew was a thing, like after you done cheated on me with so many people. When I'm telling you guys, this is why like I hate Geminis. Like Armando is the biggest reason why I hate Geminis, and I guess I really do have a type because every dude after him that's not my boyfriend now, like I had to get out of the Gemini pool because we are just fatal attraction. But it was just like, you have like 10 million different girlfriends. We were talking, we were together, we are like, I'm at your house, I'm with your family, I'm meeting your grandma, we're doing all this stuff. And at the same time, you're literally in my neighborhood, staying with this girl, spending the night with this girl. And like the way he used to gaslight me, y'all, like the way he used to gaslight me. And like come to find out, like I only knew like 1/10 of what you were doing because I have this random boy. And that was another thing too, because it's like me and this boy, we just know each other. But like, what reason does he have to lie? What reason does he have to make this stuff up? He doesn't. So he's telling me this stuff and like my heart is in pieces. Like, and after that, I stopped messaging Armando. I did not talk to him for the rest of the cabin trip. And he swore that I was there by myself with my best friend, the one that I told y'all ghosted me. He swore that I was there and it was like a romantic getaway at 17, please. Like he swore that it was a romantic getaway and I was just, being a thought pocket with my best friend. And I just didn't speak to him for the rest of that trip. And if you guys are on my membership, I hate plugging my membership, but like kind of don't really care. But I did a video about like the ex. This was the girl. This was before that, okay? Yeah, so it just turns out that the whole thing, so boom, right? The 4th of July thing happened. I'm thinking this was all my hypothesis. I'm thinking he been knew that this girl was back in town. And so he just created a reason not to talk to me because to this day, I never knew why he stopped talking to me the first time. He, rekindled his love for this woman or this girl. On the 4th of July, they were hanging out, they were chilling. He did give her a ride home. I guarantee that, after who knows what they were doing. And so she left her charger in his car. The friend thing happened. And then she stayed for a while. and she came back. I don't know. I really to this day have no idea how that went about or like what that timeline story was. But all I know is that she was back for quite some time, and he was literally at her house spending the night with her in the same neighborhood as me, as I'm passing by this street, not thinking anything of it, not thinking that my man is literally booed up with his ex this whole time. And like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I knew like Armando would go crazy about me and stuff, showing up to my house, doing all this craziness. Like, he's crazy. I haven't even told y'all everything that this man has done to me, but he would do all this crazy stuff to me, and I'm just like, the whole time when I found out about the side chick, the one that when the Snapchat beef that I made a video about, when I found out about her, I'm just like, girl, I'm not his main girl. I don't know who you are. Like, I'm his girlfriend, you're his girlfriend. He has another side chick in a whole nother city. But meanwhile, we're all doing all this craziness, and he's in love with her. Like, it blows my mind, because I used to tell this to Paris all the time when all this stuff would happen with me and Armando. Like, when he would harass me, when he would stalk me, when he would do all this craziness. I used to tell her all the time, I'm like, girl, if you would have told me that I was the ex that he would do this for, I would have thought you were lying. Because I always, in my, like, heart of hearts, knew that, like, the only reason he wasn't with Marie was because she wasn't physically there. Because I'm like, it always went back to her. No matter what time period, no matter how much time has passed, when we first started talking, during us talking, when we were fighting and dating, when we broke up, like, for some reason, Marie was always there. And I'm just like, at the same time, because I did confront Marie one time. I really did. I told her, because I was like, why does your name keep popping up in Armando's phone? And she read the message, and I was like, that's what I thought, with the sleeping emoji, because I was ready to fight this girl. Like, stupid, but I'm not even joking. Like, I really was. And so, like, she would just always keep popping up. And I'm just like, why aren't y'all together? Like, if you're gonna keep doing this, if y'all are gonna keep running around, because she wasn't innocent either, because, like, you know that I'm in the picture. Like, Armando would post me on Instagram and Snapchat and stuff, and, like, you would still engage in, like, this weird ex situation. So I'm just like, why are y'all not together? What is this? Why are y'all not together? Y'all miss each other so bad. Y'all miss each other all the time, because every time you're in town, you just have to see him. I'm not joking, y'all. Like I said, I had no idea what this girl was into. I don't know why she was always in and out of town, but every single time that girl came to visit, they saw each other. So it was like, why aren't y'all together? You could have saved me, the girl from the Snapchat beef. You could have saved her. You could have saved the other one from the different city. You could have saved all of us the trouble if you would have just stayed with his so annoying, like, the red flags were just stabbing me in my face. The women were just in my face. Everything was just in my face, and I just actively chose to just so stupid. But yeah, I thought I would give y'all the continuation to what happened with me and Armando that time. And this is just another story 1,500 and billion of Armando showing that he is the worst thing that happened to humanity. I say that with all the disrespect in my heart. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope y'all have a higher self-esteem, higher self-worth, higher something, y'all. Please don't be like me. Please don't ever find yourself like me. And if you are in a situation like that, please get out of it. It only gets worse from here. It never gets better. I'm so sorry to tell you, it never gets better. But anywho, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.